Okay, in this assignment here, it says solve the system of equations by graphing. So you have to find the two places where the lines would intersect. Okay, y equals 4x plus 3y equals negative x minus 2. This is going to be an easy one because in the first equation the y is by itself, so you have the m and the b. Remember, mx plus b. And then the slope is 4 over 1, and the y-intercept is positive 3. So on the y-axis you go to 3, 1, 2, 3. Then from there I go up 4, forward 1. If you can't do it again, that's fine. Just picture line off the 2. Okay, now in the other one, the y is by itself once again. Okay, so you put a 1 there, and that's your m and the b. So slope, negative 1 over 1, and the y-intercept is minus 2. So minus 2, then I go down 1, forward 1, down 1, forward 1, and they will cross, and you mark the point where they cross. So this is the one point right here that's on both lines, so that's your answer, but you need to tell what the point is. So 0 and then negative 1, so negative 1 is your x value. And then on the y, 0 and then down 1, so negative 1, so it's negative 1, negative 1. Okay, number 2, we have 2y minus x equals 2, and then y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Now this first one, we don't have the m and b, so I go to my scratch paper, I put number 2 down. So 2y minus x equals 2. But you have to pay attention here, okay? You really do. It's the y you get by itself. Now the y is kind of out of place, but that's still the one I'm going for, and it's got a multiplier of 2. You put a 1 there. That's what you have to get by itself. So outside you have this negative 1x, you have to get rid of that. Remember, it's the y, even though the y is in a little bit different place, you got to always know it's the y. Okay, so you have 2 times y. By the way, it was multiplied by a positive, so I didn't need to change the signs. So it's going to be x1 and then plus 2. Okay, so you divide everything by 2. Now 1 divided by 2 is not 2, that's a decimal. Okay, so you keep it 1 over 2. 1 over 2x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now you have your m and your b. So the slope is going to be 1/2, and the y-intercept is positive 1. So I go up 1, forward 2. Okay, now the second equation, I have the y by itself, so I can do my mb from there, and I can do my slope-intercept. I do not need to go to the scratch paper. So the slope is 1 over 2, and the y-intercept's plus 1. So positive 1 there, then up 1, forward 2. Okay, so it's exactly the same line. That's IMS, infinitely many solutions. Okay, number 3. 4y equals 8x plus 8. Well, right away the y is not by itself, so you're going to write number 3 down. And you got 4y equals 8x plus 8. Now remember, it's the y you pay attention to. Y is on this side. It's multiplied by a positive 4, so no sign change. Now, do you have anything outside the 4 times y on that side of the equals? No, you don't, so you go straight into dividing. 8 divided by 4 is 2x. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So you have MB. So slope, y-intercept. So the slope is 2, it'd be 2 over 1. The y-intercept is positive 2, okay? So 2, and then you go up 2 over 1. Okay, there's your first equation. Okay, now the second one is good. I don't need to use scratch paper. The y is by itself. You got your MB. Two over 1, then minus 1 is your y-intercept. Okay, then up 2 over 1. Now, these lines are not the exact same line like the last one. They are parallel. They are running parallel. They won't cross. But the answer to this is no solution. When you have parallel lines, it's no solution. You don't write IMS. That's when the line's exactly the same. Okay, now we are solving without graphing. So we have 3y plus 4x equals 14 and y equals 2x minus 3. So you're solving for, and now there's two ways to do this. If you have a letter by itself, which you do, then you're using the substitution method. That's base, replace. So you write the other equation, 3y plus 4x equals 14. So it's the y that's your base. So you put a parenthesis around your y and then replace it with the expression 2x minus 3. So you have 3, quantity 2x minus 3, and then after the parentheses you have a plus 4x equals a 14. Then you distribute. When you distribute, make that plus negative. So 3 to 2x, 3 to negative 3, because I want to be able to just drop the plus sign. So 3 times 2 with x is just 6 with x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Then we have to add the 4x. Okay, so we got two x's on the same side. So now we are good to go. We add those with the v, and that's 10x plus negative 9 equals 14. Now operations on the x side, we have times 10 and plus negative 9. So you get rid of your negative 9, you add 9, and that's 23. And you divide by 10, and 23 divided by 10 is 2.3. Okay, now to find y, you go into your replace. Okay, so 2.3. So I take 2 times 2.3 minus 3, 1.6. Okay, number 5. 5x plus 6y equals 8. X equals negative 3y minus 7. So again, we're going to do the base replace. That's what substitution is. So you have x as your base, and the negative 3y minus 7 is replaced. So you write your 5x plus 6y equals 8. So the base is x. So that's the one you put. And then you put negative 3y minus 7. So you have 5, and then negative 3y minus 7. After that, you have plus 6y equals 8. Now make that plus negative, and you distribute your 5. Okay. 5 times negative 3y is negative 15y. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. Then you add your 6y. Okay, now you need to combine your y's by adding So y, negative 15 plus 6 is negative 9, and then plus a negative 35. Now I can solve for y using my operation, linear properties. So you got times plus negative 35, so you add 35. 8 plus 35 is 43. Then you divide by negative 9. So I take 43 divided by negative 9. Now that's kind of crappy looking, so I'm just going to click second, PRB. So negative 4 7/9 would be the exact answer for y. Then I don't have to round it off. Okay, now I go into the replace circle, and I just take that out and put negative 4 7/9. So I take negative 3 times negative 4, ABC 7, ABC 9. Whoops, my bad. Negative 3 times negative 4, ABC 7, ABC 9, and then minus 7. 7 1/3. So I'm fine with decimals, those ones that go on forever. I would go second P and B with those. Okay, solve by elimination. Okay, so elimination is when you don't have a base variable by itself to use the substitution. So I'm going to line up my columns, and I want either the x's or y's to add to a sum of 0. So that's, remember that minus is plus negative. So 5 plus 3 is 8. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. So we get the 0y right there. So we don't have to switch signs or anything. 5 plus 3 is 8x. And then negative 32 plus 48 is 16. So then the 0 takes out the y. And that leaves me with just multiplication by 8. So 8 times x equals y. So I just divide each side by 8. And x equals 2. Now to find the y, just use your top equation. So you have 5x plus negative 6y equals negative 32. And since we have the x being equal to 2, we replace the x variable in the equation with 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Now it's just constant 10. Do not put 10x. Saw some of you doing that last time. 6 plus negative 10 plus negative 6y equals negative 32. So I have a plus and a times, and you take out your 10 by subtracting 10. And negative 32 minus 10 is negative 42. And you divide each side by negative 6, and negative 42 divided by negative 6 is 7. Six x minus 3y equals 15, 7x plus 4y equals 10. Okay? So, again, draw your columns. Remember, that's a plus negative there. Okay, that's 13x and that's 1y. So that's not going to work to add right now. Not only that, you don't have a match in the x or the y columns, so you're going to apply your multiplication. Okay? So we have 7, so it's going to be 7, 7, 7, and then 6, 6, 6, and 6. 7 times 6x is 42x. 7 times negative 3y is negative 21y. And 7 times 15 is 105. In the bottom, 42x. 4y times 6 is 24y. Then 10 times 6 is 60. Okay, now you still don't have 0 because 42 plus 42 doesn't add to 0. That adds to 84, but if you made this opposite, then it would add to 0. But then you have to make the 24y opposite from positive to negative. You have to make the 60 opposite from positive to negative 2. So then, negative 21 plus negative 24 is negative 45y. And then 105 plus negative 60 is 45. So the zero's taken out. negative 45 times y equals 45, so you can divide both sides by the negative 45, and that's negative 1. Okay, now write your first equation. So negative 1. So negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. So 6x plus 3 equals 15. So you minus 3, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. Now, I made a mistake in this packet. I got cross these out. I accidentally put the same page twice. Go to the next side, cross these out. Okay, they're just the same repeated problem. And then the back page, you're graphing some inequalities. So this is where you have to run. If you see a greater than or less than symbol, you're going to have to run the test after you graph the line. So that always involves, it's called the highlight test, or the shading test, whatever you want to call it. So this isn't going to be hard to get the line down. I don't need my scratch paper because the y is by itself. So we have our m and our b. So the slope is going to be negative 1/3, and then the y-intercept is going to be a positive or plus 5. So on the y-axis you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then from there down 1, forward 3. Now, the greater than symbol does not have the equals to line, so the line should be a dashed line. Okay, it should not be a full line. Now you have to run your highlight test. Okay, so you just write your MB thing here, or your MB inequality. Y is greater than negative 1/3 x plus 5. And then you have to test a certain point. And not a certain point. It could be any point as long as it's not on the line. So I'm going to go 2, I'll go 2, 3. Okay. So I'm at 2 on the x, and I'm at 3 on the y. So y I would replace with 3. Then I replace my x with 2. So you're going to take negative 1/3. Multiplied by 2 and then added 5, so it's going to be 4 1/3. Now don't let the fraction freak you out. Just compare the 3 and the 4. 4 is bigger, and it's not opening or eating the 4 like it should, so that's a false. 3 is not greater than 4 1/3. So that's false. That means every point on this side is false. If that point's false, every other point on this side of that line I made is false. Every point I would pick here is true, and you highlight the true side. Okay, number 9, 3x minus 5y less than or equal to negative 15. Okay, so you're going to have, when you see that symbol, you're going to have to run your highlight test. Now we got to get the line down first, and I'm not able to know the m and b for that. Okay, so I'm going to write number 9, and I'm going to write 3x minus 5y less than or equal to negative 15. You need to isolate your y variable. So the y is, there's the y, it's multiplied by a 5, actually a negative 5. So we do not want that y to be multiplied by a negative here, so what we're going to do is do the sign switch. So negative, positive, and then the symbol will need to flip. You can't forget to do that. And then positive 15. So then you take out your negative 3x with a plus 3x. And greater than or equal 5 times y. And then you're going to have 3x plus the 15. Divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5. So 3 divided by 5 is a decimal, so it's going to be, I leave that as 3/5, and then 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now you have your m and you have your b. So slope, y-intercept. So the slope would be 3/5, and the y-intercept would be positive 3. Then up 3, forward 5. Can't do it again, that's fine. Now it's going to be a full line because the line was there. Okay, I know I ended up flipping the sign, but the line would the equals to line would still be there. Now, when running your highlighting test, okay, don't go with that equation. Go with the MB equation that you have rewritten it into. So you have y and you're going to go forward 3, up 2. Okay. It doesn't matter where, okay, that's just what I'm picking, 3, 2. So get rid of your y and put a 2. X, put a 3. So you take 3/5 times 3 plus 3. Okay, 4 and 4/5. Just compare the 2 and the 4. 4 is bigger, but it's not opening towards that like it should, so that is a false. Okay, so false. Because that point's false, and any point on that side I would have picked is false. Okay, any point we pick over here is true. Okay, the line we make separates the true combinations for x and y from the false combinations for x and y in the inequality. Okay, last one. Highlight the region that represents solution to the system. So the lines have been graphed. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, you just need to find whether the A region has all the solutions, B, C, or D. Okay, so let's take our A, okay, and find a point in there. So first off, you're going to make a table. And this is me testing A. So on one side I have y less than or equal to -1/2 x plus 5. Then over here we have y greater than or equal to x minus 1. If you want to put the 1 in front, you can. You don't really have to because we don't need to graph the line. Okay, so pick a point in A. I'll pick a point somewhere in A. I'll pick right there. Okay. So that's -1, -2, because you're moving backwards. So -1, -2. Then on up, down, you're 1, 2, 3. So -2, 3. So 3 is going to replace the y. And then -2 replaces the x. Put the times sign there. 3. So you take -1 ABC2 times -2 plus 5, you get 6. Well, it's definitely eating the bigger numbers, so that's a true. Now, if the other side's true, we're done. Okay, 3 is y, and then -2 is x. So you got 3 on that side, then you're going to take your -2 and subtract 1. That's going to be -3. Well, obviously 3 is bigger, so that's true. So I think this problem's done. I think we have our answer. So circle A, then you highlight the angle within A. You don't cross any of either one of the two lines that are made. You cross the axes with your highlighting.